Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amina. Today I've got a bit of a different kind of video, still to do with education of course. I wanted to dig into the Chinese student study culture. Chinese students always outperform Western students. I went to Imperial College London for my masters and there was a huge number of Chinese students in the business school, and I was always so intrigued by their work ethic and their sort of dedication and their commitment to their education, and I always kind of pondered upon it, but I never really looked into it into much detail. I actually asked some Chinese students for their opinions. I read blogs, I watched some videos, and I kind of compiled a list of about 10 things, 10 tips and 10 sort of hacks to do with how Chinese students study and how that leads to them doing really well in their exams. So overall, what I actually got from talking to people and from reading is that there is a culture of education. Growing up, education is mandatory. It is something that parents are very disciplined about with their children. They send their children to tuition after school. Students revise and study in every hour that God sends them. They are very disciplined and it's sort of a culture. So, you know, their friends are doing the same things, their peers are doing the same things, everyone in school is doing it, everyone outside of school is doing it. And so it's sort of, what I found is it's more of a culture as opposed to here where you have students that are doing well, but there are loads of students that just don't care about education. So firstly, parents and teachers give students really big dreams. So all throughout their life, from a very young age, they are continuously told that they need to do well, they need to get a good job, they need to be stable in life, and it's sort of ingrained in them from a very young age. So like I said, there is this culture where they have to do well. The second thing that I repeatedly found was that Chinese students always wake up early. Their classes start very early, they wake up early, sometimes they get work done before the class starts, and they have this sort of mantra where the early bird catches the worm. And I know that's like a statement that we always use, but they really live by that. And that's sort of the way that they have their routine. They own their mornings, and that's something that I actually tend to do as well. I try to wake up early, and I used to do it a lot when I was a student. Now less so because of work, but when I had the autonomy to wake up whenever time I wanted to, I used to wake up really early to revise. The third thing that I took away was that they make habits and they build habits when it comes to studying. Now again, everything I'm saying in this video is based on what I've been told, what I've read, what I've researched, so please do not take this as gospel, but students revise or study for 12 plus hours a day. Now I don't know, it wasn't made clear whether this is including the school hours or whether this is outside of school hours, but 12 hours a day, which is insane. Although this may sound like it's a lot, I would say that there are a lot of students in the UK that do that. Even some of my students that I speak to tell me that they revise 4 or 5 hours in the evenings. I used to do that much revision in the evenings as well, so it's not unheard of, but it's definitely something that is a culture there, whereas here it's more the top students that really study for that many hours. Now I feel quite mixed about studying for that much time in a day. I feel like a child should be a child. It should be a level of enjoyment, a level of fun, a level of kind of, you know, just being a child and enjoying your life, but at the same time, you know, taking responsibility for your future. So there should be a bit of a balance, and I think, you know, an hour in the evening, 2 hours in the evening is enough. You don't have to do school and then come back and do another 5 hours. I think it's a bit much. But I think if all of your friends are doing that and that is the pressure that's around you, then naturally you would. And it makes sense that you'll do well in exams because of course you've spent so long studying. I also found that students in China enjoy their subjects. So I'm saying this with a bit of a frown because I remember being in school and I remember everyone hating everything. And I went into more depth to understand why they enjoy it because, you know, they're no different from students in the West. Students are still students. But it was more because of the way that they were taught and the relationships they had with their teachers. I was reading a blog and it mentioned how students and teachers had a really friendly relationship. So teachers would always say good morning and kind of always greet them in the corridors, and students would always want to say hi to their teachers, and it was a very kind of friendly relationship as opposed to you kind of hating your teacher or disliking your teacher. And that can make a big difference about the way that you perceive that subject and the way that you go through school. Secondly, they're taught in a very different way, and the structure in the curriculum is quite different when it comes to the way that students are taught and the way that students are taught to learn. So pedagogy there is very different. In the UK, you're taught in a way that you need to know this information, this is how you pass an exam, here's an exam question, here's an answer, go for it. Whereas in China, the way the system works is they're taught to master subjects. So they're taught the real depth, the theory. Now my fifth point is a bit different, and this is something that shocked me when one of my friends went to work in Japan and told me that before work every morning they used to do stretches at work. So every single person had to get up, and there would be like an intercom in the office that would tell everyone to do these stretches with some kind of background music and that was the way they started their mornings, with some stretches. I was surprised to find people saying the same thing about schools in China. One student said that in the mornings he would wake up and just do a bit of stretches or do a little bit of jog just to warm up and just to kind of get his heart beating a little bit and then start working. Now this makes so much sense, and I can completely understand why it would make you want to study more and why it would help you with concentration. Because can you imagine, in the morning you wake up, you go to your desk, you sit down and you just feel really groggy and you're still kind of half asleep. I remember waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning before an exam, or like, you know, that exam week, and just falling asleep on my desk. Whereas if I were to wake up, go outside, go for a jog, warm up a little bit, I feel like I definitely would have been a bit more awake, and as a result would have been a lot more efficient. And apparently this works, so let me know if it works, guys. The sixth point that I took away was in terms of where the students worked and their environment. It doesn't have to be a huge space at all. It could just be a desk next to your bed in your bedroom, rather a designated desk for studying. Now this is so important, because you have a clean space, a designated space where that is where you study. It makes such a big difference in your mindset, in terms of the clarity, in terms of just the way that you work and the way that you think. When you have a clean space, you have a clean mind, and that is the case for anything, whether you're a student or not. I find that it really helps. When I was writing my thesis, if I was in a space or a cafe that was very, you know, just kind of calm and aesthetically pleasing, I found that I worked so much better than being in a room or somewhere that was noisy and full of distractions. You can also go to the library. So I also used to go to the library, and a lot of Chinese students also go to the library, the local libraries, where they can work a bit better. And it's also distraction free because everyone's working there, so you're less likely to be watching YouTube videos all day if you're seeing everyone around you, you know, work. The next thing that I found out about Chinese students is that they love their stationery and they love their pencil cases. Students are always very well equipped. So they've got all their pencils, they've got a multitude of pencils, different pens, different pieces of equipment. It's a bit like going to work without your laptop or without your notebook. If you're not there and you're not ready to study with your equipment, then you are not able to function in the most efficient way possible. Always make sure that when you are ready to study and when it's time to get on with something, when it's time to get on with work, you've got all your equipment, you're prepared. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can go to Wilkinson. I used to go to Wilkinson and get a pack of 10 pens for, you know, less than £1. Just as long as you have spares as well, making sure that everything is prepared for you. So when you've sat there and you've got that hour and that hour is yours to revise, you're not faffing around trying to sharpen this, trying to get this, trying to do that. It's all there for you. You're 95% there. You just have to sit down and get on. The last point that I found out about Chinese students and their studying is that a lot of them do cram style studying. Now I assumed that it was what I thought it was, in terms of cramming things in and just, you know, spending loads of hours doing a certain amount of work, but actually it was more to do with the actual lessons themselves. So their lessons, lectures would be 3.5 or 4 hours long instead of, so for example in the UK our lessons are only an hour long in high school, and at university I would say maximum, my longest lectures were 2 hours, and even that there's a little bit of a break in between. I think it really depends on you as a person, the way that you study and the way that you learn. Generally, small bites with breaks in between is the most efficient, but I think it depends. If you're the kind of person that can sit there for 2 hours straight and get on with something, then it works for you. I can do that. I used to be able to sit there for 3 hours, 4 hours without moving, without going on my phone, and just get on with something. But maybe I could have been more efficient if I had just spent maybe 1.5 hours. I've seen loads of research about how students, their concentration is here and then it goes up to at about 30-35 minutes, and then it literally goes like that afterwards. So I don't see how 4 hours is going to be particularly productive. I actually spoke to someone and they gave me this quote, and I want to read it out to you. He said that he's actually a student from America, and he said that there's a Chinese proverb that his mother used to always say to him, and it was that even water droplets can break a stone over time. So just the fact that a water droplet breaking a stone is what you would say was impossible, but if that droplet kept on dropping on the stone, it would slowly erode the stone, and in the end the stone would break. Isn't that how cliffs are formed? If you keep on trying and you keep on at it, in the end you will get there, regardless of your initial strength, regardless of your initial, you know, perception of how difficult it is, how not smart you are, or whatever. If you keep on trying and you keep on persisting, you will eventually get there. I think that's a really nice quote that I want to leave you guys with from this video. I get so many messages from you guys every single day. I cannot physically reply to all of them, but I get so many of you guys that are worried, want to know if you're doing enough. This is me telling you that you're doing enough. Honestly, you are doing enough. If you're worried enough to message me about it, you're doing enough, I promise you. Don't forget to leave me a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment and let me know what more you want to see from me. And if you are Chinese, please verify my claims. I really hope I didn't offend anyone. I really hope that I didn't say anything that was incorrect. But if I did, then please just leave me a comment down below. Be kind. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.